or the corruption. But never would we have imagined how bad would things get. Today, I look at the newspaper headlines. Even the media is noticing how bad things are. A headline in the National Post, and I quote, "Secret RCMP report warns Canadians may revolt once they realize how broke they are." The RCMP has produced a report saying that Canadians are so poor, desperate, and miserable that it may lead to political instability and other turbulence that you could not even have imagined would occur in a first world country 8 years ago. I now turn my attention to the Globe and Mail. Remember, this is the same Globe and Mail that criticized me for using the term gatekeeper to describe how homes could not get built. Well, here's their headline today. Homeownership is turning into a gated community that renters can't join. So years after saying that it was very dangerous for us to talk about gatekeepers, the Globe and Mail has now awakened to the fact that the Prime Minister in 8 years has turned home ownership into a gated community, shutting people outside of the gates. A small privileged group gets richer and richer as a growing mass of working class youth and seniors renting apartments can no longer afford any place to live. I used to warn that there were 35-year-olds living in their parents' basements. Now, that's the least of our concerns. Now we're worried that those 35-year-olds and their parents might not be able to make their mortgage payments at all. Defaults are rising rapidly. We have 35 homeless encampments in Halifax and similar encampments now in every major center in Canada. We have 2 million people lined up at food banks in scenes that are reminiscent of the Great Depression. 35% of charities now say they're turning away people because they no longer have the resources, and food bank shelves are emptying out. Then you have people who are eating out of garbage cans. 8,000 people now having joined something called the Dumpster Divers Network, a Facebook group where they share tips on how you can climb into a garbage can and pull a meal out because there's nothing you can afford at the grocery store and nothing left at the food bank. This year, groceries are going to cost $700 more than they did last year for the average family. And in the middle of all of this, what does the NDP and this Prime Minister choose? To raise taxes. Raise taxes on food and fuel, on heat and homes. Raise taxes on all the materials that go into building a home, which will raise taxes on all who buy the home. Raise taxes on heating that home. Raise taxes on the gas and diesel needed to get to work to earn a paycheck to make payments on that home. And raise taxes on the farmers who make the food, the truckers who ship the food, the grocers who sell the food, and therefore all who buy the food, as if the desperation were not bad enough. And this in light of all the evidence that has come out that now 60% of Canadians are paying more in carbon tax than they get back in rebates. A fact that I have read into this record time and time again, a fact that the Prime Minister continues to attempt to hide from, a fact that the Parliamentary Budget Officer just testified to, and a fact that we did not need all of those accurate calculations to know, because every single person who's opening their empty fridge to wonder how they're going to feed their kids already knew that fact was real. Madam Speaker, we cannot in good conscience stand by while this Prime Minister imposes more misery and suffering on the Canadian people. Canadians are good, they are decent, they are hardworking. They do not have to give up on the things they used to take for granted, affordable food and homes, just for the incompetence of ego of one man. He is not worth the cost. He is not worth the crime. He is not worth the corruption. He is not worth giving up the country that we knew and still love. We as common sense Conservatives are ready to restore hope in this country, but it starts with change. We rise today to vote non-confidence in this NDP Liberal government and to restore the great country that we love based on the common sense of the common people united for our common home. Your home, my home, our home. Let's bring it home.
Thank you for joining us. If you appreciate content that delves into critical issues, consider subscribing for more insightful updates. stay informed, and until next time, I'm QuikPolitics, signing off.